The arena was alive with the roars of thousands of alien spectators. Towering floodlights illuminated the blood-stained sands, where warriors from across the galaxy fought for dominance. The Krathel Gladiatorial Tournament was the most brutal competition in the universe, a place where only the strongest survived, and the weak became entertainment for the masses. And tonight, for the first time in history, a human was among the contestants. The human gladiator. High in the stands, the Krathel Emperor, a massive reptilian being with golden scales and piercing yellow eyes, sat on his throne. His people, known for their warrior culture, thrived on combat. They had conquered countless species, enslaving the weak and entertaining themselves with their suffering. At the center of the arena stood the human, Corporal James Carter. He was a soldier from Earth, captured during an interstellar war and forced to fight for the amusement of his captors. His body was lean but muscular, his stance confident despite being surrounded by warriors twice his size. His piercing blue eyes scanned the crowd, noting how every single alien in attendance was laughing. The alien audience burst into loud mockery. A human in the arena, against the greatest gladiators in the galaxy? What a joke! Carter could hear the jeering from all around him. He recognized the alien languages, even if he couldn't understand them all. The universal language of laughter and disdain was loud and clear. In front of him stood his first opponent, a Brachnar, a towering, four-armed behemoth with thick, armor-like skin. The Brachnar was a species designed for war, their bones reinforced with layers of natural plating, making them nearly impervious to attacks. The massive warrior had fought and killed over 30 opponents in this very arena. The Brachnar grinned, baring rows of jagged teeth. He swung one of his massive hands in an exaggerated motion, mocking Carter's size. "You are weak, human," he said, his deep voice booming. "This fight will be over in seconds." Carter didn't respond. He just cracked his knuckles and smirked. The first fight. The horns blared, signaling the fight's beginning. The Brachnar lunged forward, swinging a colossal battle axe down toward Carter's head. It was a blur of steel and death, but Carter was faster. He sidestepped at the last second, the axe missing him by inches. The sheer weight of the weapon buried it deep into the sand, leaving the alien warrior off balance for a brief moment. Carter didn't hesitate. He darted forward, using his small frame and agility to slam his elbow into the Brachnar's ribs. Crack! The Brachnar stumbled, eyes wide in shock. How was a human this strong? The audience gasped, the laughter fading slightly. This was supposed to be over in an instant. Carter didn't let up. He grabbed a handful of arena sand and threw it into the Brachnar's face. Dirty fighting? Maybe, but humans fought to win. Blinded and enraged, the Brachnar swung wildly. Carter ducked, rolled, and weaved between the massive blows, his movements inhumanly fast compared to the bulky gladiator. Then he saw his opening. With a final move, Carter launched himself forward, wrapping his arms around the Brachnar's thick neck. He twisted with all his strength. Snap! The Brachnar collapsed, lifeless. Silence. Then, thunderous cheers. The Krathel Emperor sat forward in his throne, his amused grin fading. This was unexpected. The second challenger. The crowd erupted, half in awe, half in disbelief. Carter stood over the corpse of his first opponent, wiping the sweat from his brow, but there was no time to rest. A Volgrath warlord stepped into the arena. Towering at 9 feet, his body was covered in thick bio-armor, his claws sharp enough to slice through steel. The Volgrath had won 72 fights in this very arena. He glared down at Carter. Impressive, but you will not survive me. Carter shrugged. You aliens keep saying that. The fight began. The warlord charged, his claws slashing through the air. Carter rolled under him, dodging with ease. The warlord turned quickly, faster than expected. He swung a massive claw toward Carter's head. Carter barely dodged, feeling the air shift as the razor-sharp appendage whizzed past his face. But Carter had been trained for war. His ancestors had fought battles for thousands of years, on land, sea, and in the stars. His reflexes, his instincts, his intelligence, it was evolution perfected by war. The warlord made a mistake. he left his side exposed for a fraction of a second. Carter lunged, grabbing a fallen dagger from the sand and plunging it deep into the alien's throat. A gargled scream, then silence. The crowd erupted again, louder this time. The Emperor's expression darkened. The final battle. There was only one opponent left, General Zorvath, the undefeated Krathel champion. 7 feet tall, with crimson armor and a plasma blade that could cut through battleships, he was feared across the galaxy. As he stepped forward, he grinned. "You have fought well, human, but you cannot win against me." Carter rolled his shoulders. "We'll see about that." The final battle began. Zorvath lunged, his plasma blade slicing the air where Carter had been a split second ago. The human dodged, weaving through attacks at speeds that even the fastest aliens in the arena struggled to follow. Then Zorvath caught Carter's arm and slammed him into the ground. The crowd gasped. The Emperor smirked. "It is over." But Carter wasn't done. As Zorvath raised his blade for the final strike, Carter kicked his knee inward, forcing the alien to stumble. He sprang up and delivered a brutal punch straight to Zorvath's throat. The alien coughed, staggered, but Carter didn't let up. He grabbed the plasma blade from his opponent's hand and drove it straight through his chest. A final shocked expression crossed Zorvath's face before he collapsed, lifeless. Silence. Then, the loudest roar the arena had ever heard. The human became a legend. Carter stood victorious. The Krathel Emperor rose from his throne, his expression unreadable. Then, slowly, he began to clap. A moment later, the entire arena followed. Thousands of warriors, many of whom had mocked Carter moments ago, now cheered for him. Humans were no longer seen as weak. They were warriors. They were champions. And the galaxy would never forget the day an alien gladiator laughed at human and paid the price.